Well, all right, we're back for the last half hour. Not a lot to talk about, really. Uh, what do we have from this morning? It looked like we had PAG, PAG, RHI, and somewhere this afternoon. Let's take a look when it sold or went long on TEL. It was on the scan. Let's see where it is. It's always hard to find them. Be nice if you just had one account, but that wouldn't be any fun then. So we look at the chart, and really you don't need a chart to do this type of stuff, but everybody's so used to it, it's just easier to use this information. I mean, you could find the high and the low for the 6 month, or you know where you bought it at, and that's where you'd be retracing from your 50%. But you can see where we've bought. Nothing exciting about this type of buying and selling. This is just very mechanical. What it allows you to do is profit continuously. Once you understand that you're pulling in dividends at all hours of the day because it's 24/7, it's just like getting rent. You just have all these rental properties giving you money. Sure, you get some dumps. You got one that's $265 and it's paying you $3.48 multiplied by 4 tenants, so if you want to look at it that way. Any way you want to justify it, but it's all based on the size of your account. All right, this is the smallest one that we show, the ones we manage. We kind of step it up, just stay under the 100,000 mark. When these get too big, we'll reduce them. All we do is take cash out, and we just don't trade them as much. Let them come back down. Everybody's worried about what's going to happen with the market coming down. Well, got 2 questions today. It's like, well, you're going to be stuck with all these positions. I was like, yeah, so the point being is I'm going to get paid no matter what. Market's going down, I'm getting paid. I just won't be trading as much. And that's not to say nobody knows how this market's going to react, by the way. You could have half of these stocks going down and the other half going up. I mean, they could all be going down. Let's look here. You could have half of these not paying dividends. I mean, there's so many different. You can't take everything into consideration. So what you have to do is set up some rules that you trade by, so you don't make mistakes. Because if you fill your head with all this noise and you try to, this is money management. It's not a scheme to make $1 million in a week's time. It's a pipe dream. There's plenty of people that try it every day. They think they've got some newfangled way of pulling money out of the market. One of the guys I trained came up with the idea, called it, he says, your system is exactly like a remora. I said, what the heck's a remora? He says, well, it's a fish that feeds off of the sharks, right? And so the sharks are the big eaters, right? You can use, I guess you can call them your institutional investors. But what we do is we just take those little fish right off the side, right? So we just continue to grow our accounts, and eventually we become a shark. It's inevitable. There's no way that you can't. So if you're constantly eating, you'll get bigger. But if you're, constantly eating means pulling in dividends. No matter what's going on in the market, it could be flat or going down, you're going to continue to get paid these dividends. So just the size of the account multiplied by what you're invested in. That's why I push people, if you want to get that dividend percentage up when you're first starting up, if you're under 25,000, I would recommend going after the higher yielding CEFs. They don't move as much. There's not as much volatility in there. And as you start to grow your account, if you have 25,000 and you can average 10%, then you're going to make, $2,500. And that's nothing to sneeze at. That's going to allow you to buy even more CEFs. The snowballing effect, and as you get up into the higher amounts, you'll understand, oh, okay, now I get what he's saying. So now you're starting to hit these occurrences faster at $1.52. it's not that far away. So if we look at CFFI, you can see, well, hey, it didn't go the predicted or the direction that we wanted it to go, but we're in this for life, so it doesn't matter. But we don't have our life savings in there, right? We already have an order down in here at 38.77. We're going to dollar cost average. It's basically a $10, so it's going to be halfway. A $10 spread, it's going to be halfway in the middle. We're still going to be targeting the same amount of dividend, right? Unless it changes, it's $1.52. But the only difference is we're going to be increasing our stake in this position, right? So it's an occurrence. Look at each share as an occurrence, each dividend as an occurrence. Every time that you can hit one of those, it starts to look like this. You start to get these payoffs. So once you're involved in it, I mean, give yourself, 90 days and see how it treats you. Now, I can't see the future. If the market comes down tomorrow, there won't be a lot of trading going on. And, the scan for next week probably would be pretty light. You just don't know. But I'm not into making predictions. I'm into managing money and taking money out of this market. That's what it's there for. Lots of people are donating their money. I don't donate. Donate to your, special cause or your favorite cause or whatever, but do not donate your money to the market. I hear people all the time, well, it's only $100. Like, okay. Like it's okay to lose $100 in the market. It's not okay. Don't make it a habit. What was that one? Oh, let's find that one, gain. Yeah, let's take a look at this, see if it's still up there. I put a poll out there. Yeah, I put a poll up there because it was sitting up here at 26.15, and I asked, does it close or does it not close? I mean, it was just painted up here, right? Like it went up there. Who knows why that number showed up? Is this for real? I don't know. Don't care. Didn't happen, so I'm not going to worry about it, right? Otherwise, I just keep pulling in that 6.2% dividend, right? When you have 20 shares, no biggie. If it goes back up and hits it, great. If it doesn't, one of two things will happen. I'll either get paid or it'll come back down and hit the 50% retrace. Well, actually, it's already hit the 50%. Oh, I'm sorry, it's way above our average, so it would have to come down to here, 24.16, for us to buy in again. Let's move this down. Yeah, so there's that. That's the range that it started in at, well, over 6 months ago. So we've been collecting dividends this whole time, right? So we've almost got a year's worth of dividends at that, at 20 shares. So you can work it out. It's half price, right? For 6 months, a year would be 100 and, well, what was that, $38? So 38 for the year, 19 for 6 months. That's just one stock. Multiply it by 1,000 stocks. You start thinking this way, it'll start making more sense. The light bulb will go off and you get all excited, and then you got to control yourself. You'll have that eureka moment. So let's take a look. What do we sell? WEC. W-E-C. I have no idea what they do. I want to say it's like some type of utility, electric, yeah, energy group. So WEC, when we look at it, you can see where it closed. This was one of these ones that was DCA'd, I remember. We'd have to go back and look at it, but what ended up happening, you bought it up here, bought it here, bought it down here somewhere, and the target price was up here somewhere. So you can see, we had made at least one dividend payment plus the profit on the day. This is how you keep moving forward. This is how you don't take losses, right? The way you're going to take a loss is making stupid decisions on the size of your trades, trading more than what your account can withstand if you do take a loss. So like this account here has 31,000 in it, right? So I don't actually use a percentage. I use an algorithm to come up with my max shares and everything, but that's something to talk about another time. But if you understand this philosophy, you can use whatever uh, risk management you want. I mean, you got questions and, want to know more about it, give me a shout. I'm putting an ebook out. It'll help some people. All the education's free. I'm just trying to show people how to make money without, being stupid, basically. I mean, if you want to risk money, that's up to you. It'll just take you longer. Like most people, the reason why they get involved in the market is so they can, have some residual income. If you've ever thought about having rental property, think of it like that. However you want to get your head around it. But what ends up happening is a lot of people gamble, and you're never going to stop those people. I mean, it's a disease, just like drinking. If you're an alcoholic, that's a lifelong struggle. If you want to quit, it's next to impossible. But if you're a gambler, same thing. You're always going to be the risk taker. You'll always donate money to the market. The less risk you take, the more money you're going to have down the road. And people say, well, you can't. You act like you're not going to have. You're not going to be able to spend any money. I said, well, first off, you don't want to touch any of this money until you get ready to. So you want to try to build each one of these accounts, right? And if you put all your money into one account, you say, well, why not just take? If I've got $500,000, why not just take $500,000 and put it into one account? I said, well, you can do that, but you're putting it into one brokerage. You're trusting that brokerage is going to be around. I mean, I'm looking at risk assessment from every angle. I don't put all my money in one bank. You just never know. Banks have gone out of business before, especially small hometown banks. That's why people don't trust anything. You say, well, you got 100,000. Well, what happens if you got 500,000 sitting in a bank earning what, less than 1%, and they go out? What's going to happen to your money? They're only insured to 200 or 250. You just lost half your savings. Spread it out. That's how you protect yourself and still make money. I'm showing people how to make 1% per month, and people laugh. 1%? They don't understand scale, and they sure as hell don't know risk. If you looked at any of your big banks, they probably take less than that. Their risk is like really low. That's why you see them investing in bonds and everything else. But they're using massive sums of money at low interest rates. But now the people that they're lending money to, they're charging you, what, 20% on a credit card? I don't even know anymore. I have a credit card, but I always pay it off every month. I don't pay interest because I understand interest. Those who don't understand interest pay it. So if you're not debt-free and you're investing money in the market, you're probably not going to come out ahead. You probably need to really concentrate on getting debt-free. I'm not talking about a house. I'm talking about credit cards. Whatever you do, do not borrow money to invest and trade with. That would be my only piece of advice. And I'm not a financial advisor, but that's sound advice. Don't borrow money and trade it. That's crazy. I mean, anything can happen in the markets. We're on a great streak right now. We're at 319 days without a loss. That's because we manage our money and we don't take losses. But you can't, if you borrow money and something happens with interest rates, you might be having to liquidate stuff and taking losses. I'm not willing to liquidate anything. I keep enough capital on the side that it doesn't affect my trading. doesn't affect my decision making. I just follow the rules. I take profits and I move on. What's the next trade? Right now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 trailing stops in today. So I'm just waiting, right? What that means is when the market starts to go up, right? I'm not saying I know when these things are going to hit. All I know is I'm committing myself to being part of the market. If you don't have skin in the game, you can't win. You have to take the shot. Who was it that said that? Say, if you don't take the shots, you're never going to miss. If you don't take the shot, you won't ever win. So, I mean, it's a 50-50, right? You either make it or you don't. But one thing's for certain, if you don't take the shot, you'll never have a chance at winning. And if you manage your money, you can alleviate the downside. I'm not saying you can't lose money in the market. What I'm saying is your chances of losing big in the market are greatly reduced because you're managing your own portfolio. You make decisions, sound decisions based on smart money management. Don't let somebody tell you, you hear the big numbers flying around. Yeah, I made it 300-400% today. Ask them how much they made. Not a percentage, not a yield. I told you that number can mess with people's heads. You look over here, this one pays 6.7%. All right. And you're like, okay, that's per year. This one pays 16.5 per year. And you look at the value differences, right? 1.92 or $1.92 a year. And where's that other one? Which one did I say? 6.1, 107. So see, they're pretty close, right? 6.1, 6.7. Then when you get up here, where's that other one? Well, you start hearing 300%. It's a big number, right? But it's easy to get a 300% increase on something that's low value. So if you have $1, what's a 300% increase? Just easy. Add 300%, right? Nope. 100 plus 300%. I keep hitting the dang multiplication sign. Plus 300%. It's $300, right? That's on, well, that's on $100. How about it? Jeez. Plus 300. Okay, I can't seem to figure out a calculator here. Plus 300%. It's $3, right? So don't let it fool you. And learn how to use a calculator. It's late in the day. I've done a lot of calculations. That's why I use a calculator, because your mind gets a little fried when you're working a lot of accounts. But I do take time out, go walk the dog, ride my bike, do some shopping, do whatever I got to get away from the computer. Do not sit in front of the computer all day thinking you watching it is going to make it happen any faster. It's going to do what it's going to do. 30 minutes a day is all you really need to do with this, and you'll see how it works. There's nothing wrong with watching it when it's going crazy. You can really watch some price action, but it still doesn't change your strategy. You don't just start jumping in because, hey, so-and-so said, hey, jump in, put all your money into this. It only takes that one mistake, and you're back down to where you were maybe 5-10 years ago. So learn how to do it right. Stick with it. Here's another one, PNW. This was one that you can tell where our dollar cost average, well, our original purchase was up to this 0% mark. It looks like it was 86.67, and then it came back down. We DCA'd somewhere in the middle here, right? Or maybe it was up here, I don't know. Well, it had to have been around here somewhere. But now your average cost has moved down, and it came down and almost touched that 100% pullback. And we would have bought whatever another 2 probably. Let's just say it was 2. So we would have had 6 shares going up. But we didn't chase it. We didn't do anything. All we did was collect dividends, right? And it looks like a dividend payment's coming up. Maybe that's why price is going up. Who knows? Do we care? No. Do we care what the volume is? No. Do we know if it's going to hit our sell limit? Nope. It's about 90 cents away. Do we know? Nope. Have no idea. What we do know is what we'll profit, right? Or what we're supposed to profit on is 332. Multiply that by 4. So we should get 1328, right? That's our target profit. So it looks like we got about 9 minutes. Where are we at here? Let's see if there's anything else. We'll look at the mosaic. That's that PNW we were talking about. So had good dividend payments today, 85.54. Let's take a look at the profit chart. So we had 1931 in trade profits, 85.54. So here's the cumulative profit up to this point, and here's the cumulative dividend profit, and there's your total profit so far in 13 days. So we're under $100 per day of trading. If you want to add in the weekends, you can do that too. That'll just lower that down per day. Or we're talking about days we're actually in. So you can divide that by, let's say, 2 hours per day. Right? So it's about $50 a day. That's just on small accounts. Of course, you got to pay your taxes. Don't forget your taxes. We're just looking for anything big that's moving. We want to take a look at it just to see if anything's changing or we're getting close to an alert. Alerts help you because you don't need to watch it all day. That's what I like about it. Looks like we gotta clean that one up. We didn't get our lines in there. And if you you get into a routine. I mean, if you're new to this, it's a little hard to follow, I'm sure. But I try to simplify it as much as possible. There's no smoke and mirrors here. What you're seeing is real. Got it? So this is just something I do. There's several different ways to do it. You can either use dollar cost averaging and just use the scan, or you can use this system that I use here. I have several different systems on how to DCA, but none of them have to do with indicators. It has to do with money management. That's what I'm after, is money management. So there's our wick trade. You can see there's no negatives, right? Hence the reason for the 319 days without a loss. All right, what were we looking at? Oh, go back to Mosaic. And see, though, 5BK. Yeah, that's one we picked up this morning. PAGs. Let's go change that one. Where'd it go? PAG. I want to get those lines in there. If you don't put them in, you forget about it. And when you're doing multiple accounts, if you got one, you probably won't. Oop, you've got multiple accounts, you'll forget some of these because they happen pretty quick in fast markets, and you got 50, 60 orders all coming in at the same time. It's next to impossible to get them all done and still pay attention. So you just that's why you're constantly monitoring to see if something is out of the ordinary. You want everything to look the same. That way you have less chance of a mistake. Your brain says, hey, something's different. You go back in, you fix that mistake. It may not be like a mistake, but at least it's something that you're aware of, and you can be like, oh, okay, I need to change that. So when you see it, you fix it. You don't procrastinate. So here's one that's coming down, INDB. So hits this alert. As soon as we get this alert hit, if it hits, we'll put in another order down here at 72.53. We just don't put it in too early. The reason being is you tie up your cash, and you could be using that for something else. Now in these smaller accounts, you don't really have to worry that much. Stuff doesn't move as fast as you think it's moving. That's why you've got time. But yeah, we've had a decent pullback in here. We like this because it allows us to, gather more shares, and that just means more profit when it goes up and hits. Right? So that's the whole objective. Buy at lower prices, because when we enter a lot of these positions, we don't have a clue if this is the top, and that's the way we treat it, right? So when this comes down, just act as if you didn't know or you didn't buy at this level, right? How are you going to know to buy at 50%? Are you just going to say, okay, I'm going to buy up here and use the Fibonacci? Well, I guess you could use that. But what's your money management strategy is the most important thing. How you get into the trade is really not that important. It's how you're going to manage it. You believe if the company's paying dividends, it means it's making money. Common sense. You get something in return for waiting. But if you're impatient and you want that money right now, call J.G. Wentworth. I don't know if anybody remembers those old commercials. I want my money and I want it now. Those were too funny. But that's the way a lot of people treat it, They're like, oh, hey, I got 50 grand. I'm just going to buy this. And I'm going to sell it when it hits $1. Just some random number. And that's fine. So when it goes against you and you're sitting on it, are you going to sit on it? Are you, if you're that all hyped up and wanting to make all that money, what are you going to do in most cases? To prove to yourself, you're going to sell it at a loss. If it goes against you $1, most people are going to take the loss. And if you're $50, you had 1,000 shares, and if it goes down $1, you just lost $1,000. Keep the numbers simple when you're doing the equations in your head, or write them down, or use a calculator. Take your time and understand what you're trying to profit. You can profit whatever you want, but just know this: the further away you are from your average cost, the harder it is to hit. It's just a probabilities case. It's possible you could hit any number in the world. There's no possibility of you losing more than what you invested unless you leverage your money. Okay, so that's a good case for not leveraging your money. Keep your positions small, right, in relation to the size of your account. It won't hurt. You can have many more positions on and make the same amount of money, but at least you'll be able to trade it. Now, if everything's dropping at the same time, you get paid dividends. But if you're investing in stocks that don't pay dividend and the market's going down, you ain't gonna make nothing. Sorry. There'll be a lot of people selling Tesla. A lot of people selling, taking losses here, left and right. It's just the nature of the beast. The richest people in the world that do investing, they invest in dividend-paying stocks, and they manage their own money. So it's that simple. But yep, decent day. Pulled another, well, over $100 out of the market. We look back. Yeah, that's like $105 out of the market, roughly. So you see, these two are still moving up. We don't know what's on tap for tomorrow. We don't care which way the market goes. All we're going to do is the same thing. Concentrate on pulling more money out of the market. If there's dividends payments tomorrow, we'll find out in the morning after we do all our inventory. We look to see what we've got. But other than that, have a good afternoon, have a good night, and we'll see you in the morning.